Morning, Chase. Morning, Tipper. What you got for today? Well, the usual boring stuff for you, except the first story, which might actually be of some interest for Clive. How so? I'll let Chase read it for you. Thanks, Tipper. No problem. Have a good one. You too. What does it say? Oh, well, how about that? What? The Sodor Archive Association has just discovered several reports from the Sodor Mainland Railway. They were found in the basement of the house of a former board member. The newly discovered reports are of particular interest to the people who've studied it, as it tells a slightly different story than what's already been told. It might break soon. Probably inevitable. But that's bad, since it might be misinterpreted. Well, I never. Hello, Clive. Oh, hello, Brian. Well, what a lovely surprise. You still live on Sodor? Well, I didn't see any reason to move away from it, so I stayed. Fair enough. So, what did you do after we closed? Well, practically all of the railway staff was given the choice to be hired by the Northwestern Railway. Some chose to take it, while others chose to find other jobs. It was basically a 50-50. I joined the Northwestern and worked there until my retirement in 1928. I see. Serving a guard all your life. That's some love for the job. I felt right at home doing it. I couldn't imagine myself doing anything else. And it's a good thing you didn't do anything else. I have to admit, you were among the best guards the Sodor Mainland Railway had. Well, thank you for that, Clive. That's very kind of you. Ah, yes, the Sodor Mainland Railway. Such a turbulent time when I worked for it. Not one day went by without some confusion or trouble. Makes me wonder how it managed to stay afloat for as long as it did. We relied on government subsidies for the better part of 11 years, until they were all fired. It's sickening how much they got away with. Truly. But I kind of miss it. And by it I mean all the stuff that wasn't them. You know, the stations, the workmen, the locomotives especially. Yeah, we're ironically the only ones left on Sodor, despite the fact that we were the first. That is quite ironic. Do you know what happened to the others? Unfortunately, no. Well, we can only hope that they're somewhere good. Indeed. Anyway, I have to go now, Clive. Nice seeing you again. Hope to see you around. Likewise, Brian. Thanks for the talk. Well, that was nice. At least some good elements still remain. Oh, Stanley. I didn't see you. How long have you been there? About 7 minutes. Oh, so you heard? I heard again. I know you three are trying to hide something, but you keep talking about it. You've heard us talking before, 3 times, and I've become even more puzzled each time. This time especially, you've left me particularly confused and curious. A made-up story, turbulent times, no day without confusion or trouble, government subsidies, and those recently discovered reports. Nothing adds up to what you've been telling us, and I think it's about time that you let it all out. Clive, what's going on? You want to know everything? I bet the whole island wants to know everything. Well, I suppose it's pointless to keep it hidden for much longer. But we can't do it now. We don't have enough time. I've got half an hour. Like I said, we don't have enough time. If you're to be told everything, you'll have to hear it in detail. Meet me tonight at Kirkronan Harbor. I'll make sure to have Neil and Matthew there as well, for a more full-on experience. Very well. I'll see you then. Bother. I've dreaded this day coming. Me too. I really don't want to tell it. Well, it's better that we tell it than the newspapers. That's true, I guess. Don't want to have those reports misinterpreted. No, indeed. Evening, lads. What are you doing here? Well, the little bird told us that this evening included study time. But seriously, despite us having worked alongside you for the better part of 60 years, we collectively know very little about all the stuff that went down, given we only saw it from Grove and Skate. Fair enough. I suppose there's nothing wrong with that. I guess we just have to wait for Stanley and Lenny. You don't have to wait long. Right, we're here. Good. Well, I suppose we better get started from the beginning. We have a lot to get through, so I hope you're ready. Well, we have the whole night ahead of us. Tomorrow is supposed to be a quiet day. Very well. So, if we're to get off to a good start, we have to start at... Look, what are you doing here? You're supposed to be at Croven's Gate.
Sorry, Reneus, I know I'm not supposed to be here. There was a jam set of points further up the line, so I couldn't get to Croven's Gate until tomorrow. So I was told to spend the night here.
Well, if that's the case, then it is what it is. There's nothing you can do about it, Luke. As long as you listen to management, then everything is alright.
They were the ones that told me to go here.
Then you do listen, which is good. One thing though, that means we're also trapped here until tomorrow. That's a fair point, Scalowy. I suppose Duncan and I here will have to take care of it. Ooh, Duncan will not like that. Definitely not. But it is what it is. I suppose you'll have to stay with us, Luke.
Alright.
Well, this is awkward timing.
What do you mean? What's going on?
Well, Luke, remember when I told you about the Sodor Mainland Railway?
Yeah?
Well, Clive here, who's a former member of that railway, was just about to tell the story of it. I suppose you can listen along to it as well. No, that won't do. He's too young and inexperienced for that.
What? Did something bad happen? Reneus told me that if anybody says that, then that means that bad things happen.
Well, Luke, bad things did happen for us, but I see it rather as a learning opportunity. I think it'll be of great use for Luke. Are you sure about that, Clive? Well, if he ever does get saddened or affected by it in any way, he has some great mentors to talk to. Very well. Luke, you can listen along if you want.
Cool. Story time.
However, you start, Clive. I start. You were the first one on the railway, so you have the best knowledge. Yeah, but it was only by a month. Still, fine. If you don't want to do it, I'll do it. Thank you. Right, so as Neil said a bit ago, we'll start right at the beginning. We start in 1850. Up to this point, Sodor had been a quiet island. However, also by this point, the Industrial Revolution had taken full effect on the mainland, and to an extent, on Sodor as well. Several factories had sprouted up, with most being centered around the island's capital, which was Croven's Gate, the island's biggest port, which back then was Kirk Ronan. The latter especially saw lots of development, and by 1850 it had become the industrial heart of the island. While it wasn't much in comparison to like Portsmouth or Liverpool, it was still very impressive in comparison to the rest of the island. Kirk Ronan had grown in population as well, with most of the inhabitants working in one of the dozen factories that were active. And of course, given that it was the island's biggest port, it accounted for the vast majority of both goods and passenger traffic that came to and from the island. It was also home to the Kirk Ronan shipyard, which back then was the island's largest employer. The ships produced were known for being of high quality and for being built at a rapid pace. The ships built there were mostly for export, but the shipyard was of course the main supplier of ships to Sodor, especially for the Sodorian Navy, which was stationed at Kirk Ronan as well. Generally put, Kirk Ronan and the rest of Sodor had the essentials of the Industrial Revolution, except for one key element: railways. Despite the rapid growth that the island had seen during the 19th century, railways was a technology that they lacked in. This was generally because of the island's then Duke, Jacob IV. Jacob was a very conservative man and he had been very skeptical of the technology. He was in fact an anti-rail guy. He held strong in his opposition throughout his reign, which is why the island didn't have any railway by the early 1850s. However, he was also very, very unpopular for this, and for many other reasons. So unpopular in fact that he was assassinated in 1853. The only Sodorian duke in history to have been assassinated, but safe to say his funeral was more of a celebration. Following Jacob's removal from the throne, many of Sodor's higher class saw an opportunity to finally give the island a railway, and several would start discussion of a potential route that could serve the island's industrial heart and the capital. It eventually accumulated in a group of Sodorian higher-ups coming together, calling themselves the Sodor Mainland Railway Group. Their main goal was to link the island to the mainland with a rail connection to Barrow. Their plans were discussed and tuned over several meetings, and by 1854 they were ready to present their proposal to the island's government. The proposal went well and gained a majorital vote from the government members. With the government's approval for the project, it was time to present it to the island's new duke, Ethan VI. They had high hopes about the meeting since Ethan was very much the opposite of his father. The meeting happened on the 18th of September 1854. It took place at the house of Ronald Clover, who was the leader of the group. He was also the one who carried out the presentation. Well, Your Majesty, we're very honored that you took some time out to come by for this meeting. We're very much excited about what we want to present to you, since we feel that it can really help to revolutionize the island in both economy and general comfort for the public. I present to you the Sodor Mainland Railway. Designed to establish a direct and efficient railway. Ronald outlined the general plan and benefits that a railway would provide for the island. First, it would allow for much greater transportation between Crowens Gate and Kirkronan. Second, it allowed for a more efficient expansion of the island's industrial scene, which could generate more jobs and thereby economic growth. And finally, the rail connection to the mainland, albeit projected to happen later on, would help the island ship their goods to the mainland faster and more efficiently. And safe to say, the Duke was very impressed. Well, Mr. Clover, I am truly impressed by the comprehensive and strategic approach you and your team have taken to the development of this project. The plan for the railway is both visionary and practical, holding great potential for the future of the island. The benefits you've outlined are compelling. A growth in the economy is always a potential that should be utilized. And having seen the success of railway transport elsewhere in the British Isles, I'm convinced that this project would be very beneficial to Sodor. And you seem to be the right people to lead the project. Your commitment to sustainability and forward thinking in regard to infrastructure is commendable. Well, I think that sums up my whole view on this project. With that said, you'll find my wholehearted approval for this project. I believe this initiative will bring our vision for progress, economic growth and enhanced connectivity to power. I believe it will be a catalyst for positive change and prosperity. And with those closing remarks, it was official. The Sodor Mainland Railway Company was born. And now it was time to set things in motion. Construction began immediately after, starting at Kirkronan. The port was expanded in anticipation to the increase of traffic. After which, on the port itself, the tracks were laid. Followed shortly with the work on the connection to Crowens Gate commencing. And it was shortly after the beginning of this undertaking that the railway's first motive power arrived, which, as you know, was us. I was the first to arrive, with Neil arriving 2 months later, with Matthew following another month after that. And we learned quickly that ambitions were high among the head of the railway. Right, now that you're most settled here, it's time to get to work. We have a rather tight and packed schedule to keep to, so you're expected to work with top efficiency and professionalism. Can I rely on that from you? Yes, sir.
Excellent. So, this is the plan. We have 3 ongoing construction sites at the moment that you 3 can work on. There's the construction of the line to Crowens Gate, the construction of the main Kirkronan station, which also includes finishing the harbour, and there's the construction of the main yard up at the industrial area. Ongoing as well is the construction of the station and main yard at Crowens Gate. But given that we aren't connected to the site at the moment, you're to focus on the construction sites here. Anyway, back to Kirkronan. Given that there are 3 sites, you're to be split among them. Do you have any that you particularly want to work on?
Well, I want to work on the station and harbour. I want to work on the extension to Crowens Gate. Great, I want to work on the main yard.
Well, that was very quick. But that's already a good start. I suppose that's how it's going to be then. I'm very much looking forward to seeing you 3 in action. So, are we ready?
Yes, sir. Wow, what do you think about this? Well, that's quite a nice surprise. I take it that these will be the railway's new passenger coaches? That is correct. They arrived this morning. We'll see when we get to use them. Yeah, that's a good thing too. Bit of practice is necessary. Indeed. First time on passenger trains. Very exciting. Exciting is not the word that I would use. Why not? I'm just not that fussed about pulling passenger trains. I'm scared I'll do it badly. I'd rather stick to goods trains.
Don't worry about that, Matthew. I won't be forcing you if you don't want to. For now though, I will be encouraging you to at least try it out. You'll get a lot of time to practice, as the others also will. But if you still decide against pulling passenger trains, that's perfectly fine. I'll just shift the workload so you can focus more on goods trains.
Very well, sir. I'll give it a try then. Thank you.
No worries, Matthew. If we're to have a good start to operations, we're to make sure that we're all content with the workload. I'm yet to plan any trial dates, given that I have to work around the construction trains, but I'd imagine that you'd begin trials within a week or two.
That sounds good, sir. Well, I guess we'll just have to see how it goes.
I'm sure it'll be alright, Matthew. At least you got workers on your train today. They're used to rough travel, especially in those boxes they've been transported in.
Fair enough, I suppose. An audience with low standards. Kinda sad they've had to be carried around in those for so long. Hopefully they'll be replaced soon.
Trust me, they are screaming at management to have them replaced.
But the prayers of workers are usually never heard.
Too true, Matthew. Way too true.
Well, Matthew, the line up ahead is clear. You may proceed. Gotta wait for the guard to give me the signal, Clive. I know, I'm only testing you. Thanks, I guess. Well, this is quite pretty. I've just realized I've never really been beyond Kirk Ronan as of now. I've only really worked at the yard and the harbor.
That's true, yeah. Well, I suppose this trip will also give you a chance to see the line you'll be working on moving forward.
I suppose so. Hello, Matthew. How was that? It was okay. At least the route was pretty. The route is very pretty indeed. And now you're at the capital. I guess so. Crovin's Gate itself. The heart of the island. Indeed. So, have you made your mind up about passenger trains? Yeah, I'm not really interested. Oh, I see. Fair enough then. That's your choice. Do you want me to take your train back to Kirk Ronan? That would be very nice of you. Then I'll get ready. Well, you three, your work these past few years has been phenomenal. Absolutely stellar. And it's because of this that we're now able to open something truly groundbreaking for the island. A brand spanking new railway, connecting the capital with the island's biggest harbor. This is something truly special, and it couldn't have been possible without your contribution. Well, you've been an excellent boss so far, Ronald. A gift to work for. You lot are too kind. But are you ready for the big day tomorrow, Clive? You got the special one after all. I guess you could call it that. Don't talk about it like that, Clive. It's the opening train. That's something quite special. You should be very proud of that. I am. I very much am. I'm excited. I can't wait. And I can't wait to see you three flourish. And Matthew, I understand your decision against pulling passenger trains, something that I have the greatest respect for. And not to worry, I believe that you'll be able to handle the goods work well. I'll try my best, sir. That's great to hear. Now we better get some rest. We've got a big day tomorrow. Good night, engines. Good night. Well done, Clive. That was marvelous. Right on time and without trouble. I tried my best, sir. And I urge you to continue with it. There's a lot of work ahead. But I assure you, I'll try to make it match with your capabilities. And this run alone has given me a great idea about what that is. And it is superb. Thank you, sir. I'm looking forward to starting the regular services. Excellent. I suggest you go rest for a bit now. Gotta be ready for the return journey. Is it going to be as crowded as this one? Actually, a bit more. I would suggest adding another coach to the rig. Well, this'll be a long day. But I take your point, sir. I'll go rest for a bit. Look at you! The railway's first official goods train. Well done, Matthew. Thank you, Clive. Wow, it's crowded back there. Along the rest of the line in general. Indeed, at least a few thousand people on the stations alone. Yeah, that would make sense. I'm surprised I got as big of a cheer as I got when I passed. I think people will give any train a proper welcome, considering the role we'll be playing. Fair point. Plus, they're probably still adjusting to the concept of train travel. Makes sense. So, based on your first train, do you think you can manage the workload? Well, these first 2 trains are quite heavy. But then again, that's the result of today's importance. I can imagine they'll shrink during regular service. So far, I think we'll be alright. What about you? How does it seem with the goods work? It seems to be okay. On average, they'll probably be heavier than your trains, but at least they won't be running as often. True. I suppose we'll just have to see how it plays out. Indeed. I should probably get going now. Gotta do that return run to Kirk Ronan. See you later, Matthew. Later, Clive. Let's get this railway going. Hear, hear.
Well, you three, that officially concludes the first 2 weeks of service. And I'm already very, very proud of you all. You've all showed serious levels of professionalism and dedication to the operations of the services, which I am very grateful for. How do you feel?
Well, I appreciate your excitement, sir, but I think there's something we need to break to you.
Oh? What's that?
There's too much work. We're already finding it tedious to properly keep up with the schedules due to the demand of services. We're trying our best to keep the time, but it's taking quite a toll. We are very much doubting how long we can keep this going.
Well, that is something else, I guess.
Sorry to break it to you like this, sir. We really don't want to let you down.
It's alright, Clive. Good thing is, I noticed it too. So, I've already sent an order for 2 more engines to join us. And these 2 will be a little bit more equipped for the work we'll be carrying out. One will be for the bigger passenger trains, and one will be for the bigger goods trains.
Phew, that's a relief, sir. Thank you so much. When will they be arriving?
About 2 weeks' time. In the meantime, I'll try to split the work as evenly as possible so none of you will feel overworked. At least to a certain degree. It'll be the best I can do.
It'll be enough for the time, sir. We greatly appreciate your care towards us. We'll try best to make up for it.
Thank you. We'll just have to see what happens next.
Hello, Neil. Hello, Matthew. Good run there? Pretty standard. Nothing major happened. Just the usual run. Well, I suppose there's nothing wrong with that. No, indeed. I don't want anything unusual to happen. Especially so early on. Let's just hope we can continue sufficiently until the new engines arrive. Indeed. And on that note, I should get ready for the next passenger train. Don't want that to be late. Ah, bother. Neil, are you alright? More annoyed than hurt. Why the blooming hell was the point set against me? I don't know, Neil. But never mind that. Now you can't pull your train. Botheration. Matthew? As much as I don't want to ask you this, out of respect, can you cover my train to Crowan's Gate? I suppose there's no other option. No, indeed. Fine, I'll give it a shot. Against my will. Can't really do anything else. I know, just putting it out there. Understandable. Before you go though, can you at least bring a crane? Oh, of course. I'll get to it right away. I promised I wouldn't do this for a while, but I guess we can ignore that for now. Well, he should be here within a few minutes. Oh, hello Matthew. Well, this is a surprise. Wasn't Neil supposed to pull this one? He was, but he derailed just outside the sheds at Ronan, so he was unavailable to take the train. So you took it. Didn't really have any other option. I see. Well, I guess what you said about passenger trains... Yeah, I know. I went against my own words. Indeed. But now the obvious question is, did you mind? I did in the beginning, but I have to admit, this run was much better than my first run. Really? Didn't feel much stress nor pressure with this run. A very different experience. And have you changed your mind because of it? Not enough for me to be able to pull them regularly. But enough for me to be more open towards it in the future, if the need arises. I see. But you are aware that you're going to have to take this train back to Ronan again? Yes, I'm aware of that. Very well. I suppose you can go to the sheds now and rest before that. There's nothing else you want me to do before that? Nothing outside your schedule. Or Neil's schedule in this case. Very well. Oh, and Matthew? Yeah? Thank you for covering. This is not a small achievement. You should be very proud of yourself. I certainly am. Thank you, sir. Well, how about that? Hello. I assume that you're the new ones.
That would be us, yes. I'm Whiff.
And I'm Samson.
Clive is the name. Pleasure to meet you two. We've been looking very much forward to your arrival. We do need a lot of help if we are to manage without struggling. I heard one of you would be a main passenger engine and the other would be a main goods engine. I assume that you Whiff are the passenger engine.
Indeed, I have a bit of experience handling longer stopping passenger trains, so I'll hopefully be able to put in some good use.
That's a good start. We can only hope, I suppose. And what about you, Samson?
Well, I've been brought as the new main goods engine for this railway. I come from an industrial background, so while I may not have much experience with mainline goods work, I have worked with heavy goods in the past. So I'm not a complete stranger to the operations.
I think it'll be enough. Well, I imagine you'll have to talk to Mr. Clover if you're to get any further information. Don't exactly know where he is at the moment, but knowing the fact we've received more motive power, I can imagine he'll be here shortly.
Very well. Thanks for the information, Clive.
No problem. I'll have to get going now. But again, we're very happy for your presence here.
Thanks, Clive. See you later.